For the top story, I don't get to say this very often, but men got a little bit of justice very recently when the nightclub in California, out of all places, now has to pay $7 million to men, just men, for discrimination. And what happened was they had a ladies' night, which are pretty common, and where the men had to pay the cover charge, and the women not only didn't have to pay the cover charge, they didn't have to be searched, while men did have to be searched. So they get sued by a couple of guys, and anybody who's qualified can collect out of that judgment. And you're probably thinking, like, Alex, California has anti-men discrimination laws? When did it get passed? Was it yesterday? Was it last month? You will be surprised for me to tell you, after doing some research, this law has been in effect since 1959, and there has been other successful lawsuits, that were the basis for which were discrimination against men, including Oakland A's, which is a big sports organization. They were successfully sued for giving away free hats on the Mother's Day, and a few others. Now, you're probably saying, Alex, well, that's kind of stupid. Why would the guys mind? Who would sue for a ladies' night when we get to come to a place where there will be probably more women because they're getting in for free? Well, I'll tell you why that's a horrible idea in just a second. But let me just point out that this story was only covered by one publication, which is the Independent. So kudos to them for doing that. I think they're owned by AOL. Me and my best friend ChatGPT looked high and low for any other media, big or small, covering the story, and I could not find one. We could not find one. So again, men's issues, any type of stories, especially a success story, are really, really hard to find nowadays. So that's why I do this channel. But let's talk about why a ladies' night is a bad idea, besides just being blunt discrimination against men. And it looks like in this case, men were also searched while women were not. Like, women never do anything like bring guns or knives or pepper sprays or other shit into the nightclub. But okay, let's just set that aside. Here's the thing. Yes, I know it's very easy to say, wow, I want to go to the ladies' night because there will be a lot of girls there because they don't have to pay. Now, that could be the case. However, think about what you're doing. By definition, this is the event that attracts women, not because of how the good the music is, or the DJ, or the service, or the ambience, or the type of quality of men that it brings out. The only reason why all of these girls are coming to this club is because men are going to pay for them, and it will start with a cover charge, right? When you give them that $20 to get in for the ladies' night, you're not paying $20 for your cover charge. You're paying $10 for your cover charge, and then you're paying another $10 for a random girl that you don't even know, right? So essentially, you are forced into simping pretty much right away. But when you come into a club like that, on a night like that, what are you going to find? You're going to find that women, every single woman who got into that club, has essentially got her cover charge paid by a man. Guess what they're going to expect moving forward? Do you think they will expect to also pay for their drinks? No, they will expect the guy who already paid for their cover charge, to pay for their drinks. As a matter of fact, a lot of girls, when they go to the ladies' night, they don't even bring cash with them or credit cards. There has been many cases where a guy and a girl start talking and both order the drink, and then the bartender will go the bill, and the guy goes like, hey, listen, I'll pay for my drink, she'll have to pay for hers. And the girl goes like, well, what are you talking about? I don't even have cash on me. The expectations are already pretty high that men would simp and pay women for their time just to have a conversation, which to me is just another way of hiring a hooker who won't even go to your room with you. But it is essentially putting yourself in a situation where the quality of women that you're going to be surrounded by are going to be such that will essentially be gold diggers on some level and will expect you to simp. So the ladies' nights that go on all over the world all the time are to be avoided, no matter how good of the ratio is. It's it's kind of like here in Thailand to go to a ladyboy's party, right? Like, yeah, there will be a lot of beautiful women there, but they all will have something that you probably don't want to take home or do whatever. But you understand what I'm saying, that this is also a blunt discrimination against men. And the fact that men actually sued, right? Most men are not even bothered by it, right? I was never bothered by it until very recently, once I started thinking about, what kind of events these are and why I should stay away from them. But most men are not even bothered. That's why a lot of them don't really sue, and especially in California, where if you're a man, you're a second-class citizen. As a matter of fact, I can argue that in entire America, if you're a man, you're a second-class citizen. Look at all of the stories that I've covered this week or last week. This is the only positive story. All of the other stories about how men get their lives ruined by false accusations from women who have no punishment and many times make money on that, or discrimination from Apple or TikTok that will simply censor men while rolling out the red carpet for women. So it is a thing that a lot of men don't even realize that are going on. The Rock in a chat says, in most countries, militaries are still mostly men space because not many want to conscript women. So if men want to hang out in men only spaces, they can join the military. Well, I'm not saying that we should hang out in men only spaces. I'm just saying, if you're going to go out to meet women, try not to go to places where you by default will meet women who will make you simp for them, and so will the nightclub. And majority of them will be gold diggers. That's all I'm saying. Colin says, furthermore, if they're searching only men and not women, is the presumption of guilt until proven innocent. This is assuming only men commit crimes and women don't. Yes, well, listen, I've been covering these stories all week, and I know you guys have been in the chat almost every day, and I appreciate that. But yes, that is what it is, especially when it comes to false accusations, right? This whole Me Too movement, as good of an idea as it was, and I was absolutely supporting them at first, essentially backfired, where now women use these accusations, for false accusations for which there is absolutely no punishment but only rewards, as a tool against men, and there's nothing anybody can do. But as I mentioned before, it is a huge disservice to those women who are victims, right? But now no one's going to believe them. Now, I still think that what we should believe is the evidence and facts over anybody. Doesn't matter, man or a woman. We should, especially when it comes to the court. But at the end of the day, I absolutely believe we need to have punishment for women who accuse men of anything that has never happened. But at the end of the day, this is the only positive story for men, and not really a big win if you ask me, but the only positive story for this week. But you know what? I'll take it. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.